looking at yourself like it.
Because I'm also running the laptop. It's hard when you're also your prod team. Well,
Okay, I'm waiting for it so I can reshare.
it should be active already. Lost Toby! Yes. He stirs the coffee. Company plug.
So it's a very interesting day today. Huh?
Ah,
So many things happened today.
and you got the holiday at least. I didn't even get the holiday. Today was crazy.
Well, the holiday just allowed me to do stuff.
Yeah. You can drink in my mug.
There's someone watching already. Who's on there?
Well, you're one. I know you're not one. I don't know. Well, no one's commenting yet, so I don't
It's
know.
two, eh. So there's someone else there.
No.
Whoever you are,
As usual, because of the wonders of this live stream technology, we do not know who is actually watching until you leave a comment. So, please, let us know you're here.
oh, I should kill the audio and then.
That would help.
And then you prioritize the
I already did.
Ah,
We are good. The TV is on. Oops.
I'll kill it.
Whoop, and you hit the camera because every time you go in that area, you must move up. You're going farther away. Toby, come back! Toby, come back! Hey, Blue! Oh my
Hey.
gosh! Welcome.
Blue General, ano to ah?
We're a PG-13 audience at best. You know, because we're streaming across both Facebook and YouTube. And Mai has joined from YouTube.
Hi, Mai.
Yay! She's testing the stream quality over there, which everybody says is better. But it's kind of lonely. All the comment action tends to happen on Facebook.
That's true. Blue, this is Spoiler Shark.
Sige, do the voice. Do the voice.
I don't remember the voice. It's gonna change and it'll just come back naturally.
Oh boy. That's cool. People, cool Blue. That's fine. We have people who use us like a podcast, and they
Mhm.
just leave it playing in the background, which is cool. This could have been a podcast. But I don't know. This is nicely too. Pico is already here, and of course, is a big fan of Spoiler Shark.
Yes.
We're all fans of Spoiler Shark.
Spoiler Shark, love Drag Race.
See, there you got the. See, and then is there a cartoon where there was a person with this voice, this
I don't
old man
remember.
voice?
I don't
It's
remember.
bizarre.
I
It is
don't know
absolutely
why
bizarre.
either.
And it's funny because that's not Toby's.
Yeah. The
Typical
the
shark
original
voice.
voice was.
And should I be worried that we have a typical shark voice for Toby,
But I don't know. It changed for this
which
show.
is not at all influenced by like Toy Story, because the shark on Toy Story sounded very different.
And originally, this was just for, if ever we discussed anything that might have a show mention and there's a spoiler.
You just wanted a reason to bring out the shark. The shark has been here for quite a while.
Mhm.
Toby keeps buying things like this.
Yeah. And now it's Drag Race.
But yeah. Pico, of course, says the podcast would be nice, but there wouldn't be any interactions. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about this live format, that we're not just recording a show and uploading it. We're having an interaction, a 30-minute discussion while we're all here.
It's 9 o'clock. Should we start?
I guess you could start.
Because we started before 9.
I want to burp. I want to burp. The coffee is already working. I want to burp. Okay. Take a moment to stare at the screen a bit. We're trying to generate thumbnails, guys. This is what happens when you don't do post-prod work on your videos.
This is what happens when you don't have post-prod people to help you in your
You don't
video.
have time to do post-prod. I was working on a holiday, people.
YouTube allows me to choose the video quality. Oh,
Yes,
that's a
a
point.
cool thing.
If only that's where you should grab thumbnails. I'm interested to know where I can buy this in the Philippines. This?
The shark or
Oh.
Tube Guy? Toy Kingdom shark.
Yeah,
There are
this is Toy Kingdom.
so many animals. Every time we enter Toy Kingdom, I have pictures. Every time
Mhm.
we're there, Toby will pick up one of these
And
animal
then
puppets.
Tube Guy was through. It wasn't Amazon. It was a different site.
Like a miniature market thing.
One of
or-
those geeky online shops,
But not thinky.
I don't think it was thingy.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Blue says, I do these side comments on things you say, usually in agreement of your statements, like one-sided conversation I verbally have with two of you. So normal lang, Blue.
Yeah.
I think these side comments are part of our culture, especially for quote unquote our generation of people who've been to OBAR together. Then I think the natural commentary is born of things you say when you're watching a show. That's just a thought.
I think we can start.
Yes.
I'm hitting the timer now. This is Toby.
And oh, that was loud. And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about everything we want.
Toby hasn't even drunk his coffee, and this is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time, thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you for joining us every 9 p.m. on the days we choose to do it.
We're so consistent, sort of. And then I try to announce at noon, or sometimes 3 p.m., or sometimes 5, or sometimes when I remember just before I end my workday.
To further support the show, please right now share this on your social media. Ask your friends to join the show.
Bombard them with the unusual antics of these two people for, I don't know, why would you watch it?
Because we only have the show for 30 minutes each episode.
Yes. And yet other friends can go live and have 20 people in 5 minutes. What the heck?
No!
Okay.
Today's episode is all about surviving quarantine apart.
Because yesterday we talked about surviving quarantine together.
So this is sort of like the second part of the show?
Yes. And this was suggested by Anonymous in a actually the much longer one was for how can partners who are apart, survive quarantine better, things like that. So we figured we'll put them together, and then depending on your circumstance, both can work.
As always, this is us just sharing what we think, our thoughts, our experiences, and the quirky stuff we've gone through. So please do not take us as some sort of experts when it comes to these things.
David has already said throwing shade. That is a topic that has been suggested in the feed. I guess we'll get around to it eventually. And my volume is down. I pressed the button and nothing happened. Excellent. Okay. So, actually, we had a hard time thinking about this topic because we were worried.
Not apart.
Number one, we're not apart. Number two, we sort of touched on things to do for loved ones who are apart yesterday, very briefly.
So the challenge was to find ways to still make this interesting enough for 30 minutes. And we came up with a bunch of stuff that we'd like to share.
Yeah. And actually, so a little background is that, now I turned on my sound here and it's very loud. Okay. Background is when Toby and I started getting to know each other, we felt like we were in different worlds. Mm-hmm. I worked at night in a call center.
Yes.
Toby worked in the day.
Yes.
But was at OBAR every night.
Yes.
So, and because of that, we had to work on it. It was kind of amazing how we managed to form a friendship and then eventually get into a relationship with so much time apart.
Yes.
So that's like the main thing we're drawing from, that experience of how we kind of kept that fire alive even though we weren't together.
On a similar manner, it also connects to how prior to the pandemic, Rocky used to have a lot of trips, which would have me getting all mopey here in the Philippines. And likewise,
Toby gets mopey in general.
And likewise, I would have my occasional trips wherein I get mopey that I'm not here at all.
So Toby gets mopey wherever he is, especially if I'm not there. So, a lot of things. And David mentions lighting is better this episode. We're in a different part of the room.
We're closer to the light.
We're closer to the light, but then we lowered the lighting, and I don't know. We're also not in as dark a shirt. I think the shirt plays a factor in the contrast. Okay, first one, which is the harsh one, is accept reality. Especially given this quarantine, we are apart. There are certain things we cannot do, and the sooner you accept this, the better. And it
That's
seems
true.
funny to say this 5 months into 6 months into
Mm-hmm.
quarantine, whatever. But no, it's a difficult thing. It's like I'm still fully embracing the fact that my birthday is going to be spent like this. We're going to be in quarantine, and I don't know what we're gonna do.
But ultimately, the sooner you accept that things aren't going to change anytime soon, the sooner you can then plan to make things better for the coming days.
And it'll really fuel your creativity in what you can do
Mhm.
once you accept the constraints of what you can. So it's thinking about, that we can't really meet. Some people can't travel beyond their city.
Mhm.
You might be locked down specifically in your area. These are very really realities. At the same time that when you go out now, you need to have a mask on.
Yes.
Some cities require face shields, not just in public transportation, but in commercial areas if you happen to meet.
Mhm.
Dining in is limited to 30%, blah, 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 blah.
The commute itself is a challenge because there are some vehicles that are not accessible. If you have your own car, which does make things easier, sometimes there might be checkpoints and the like that won't allow you through. And
The
there-
dangers of people who have their own cars.
and there's the curfew.
And curfew, that at least it's unified now that we are all in an 8 to 5 a.m. curfew.
But it does tell you that you can't just choose to visit or you can't just stay till late.
yeah.
You have
Unless,
to plan with those things.
although staying late automatically means staying overnight. So
Doing dishes.
that's a thing.
It automatically means doing dishes.
Don't encourage this washing dishes thing. We're not doing these tropes, okay? So yes, and then communication consistency. And this is the thing. This is like the number one thing for us when
Mhm.
Toby and I first. Oh my god! So shout out naman.
Oh my God. Shout out!
Okay,
Hi, Sophie! Yeah, there.
okay. So oh my god! Now I want to burp again. Okay.
So yeah, communication consistency. As mentioned in yesterday's episode, it's all about having communication, staying consistent, making sure you always make sure you're in touch.
And going back to our early days, it was
Mhm.
important to figure out what would be your default medium
Mm-hmm.
of talking, so that even if the one person is not online, whether due to connectivity issues or in our case we're shifting schedules, then you have a consistent place to look for messages. I will have to take a moment to highlight shark out.
Oh my God, that's another new term.
That is a great term for if Sharky calls out a shout out for you. I'm juggling captions. All right. So
yeah,
communication consistency. I mean, like in the early days, I'm like, sorry, Toby, I need to be on Google Talk all the time because it was the one chat service I could use even when I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was our main place of talking all the
Yes.
time. And then, like, even if you go to bed, I could leave messages there. I would ramble to myself on chat,
Mhm.
and then in the morning when Toby wakes up, he'd get all these messages,
And I'd be replying.
and then he'd catch up.
And it sort of connects back to that idea that you want to stay in touch, but if you can't do it in real time, in our case, it was a lot of when I was in the States, time difference.
Yeah, it's like you're playing tag,
situations.
Telegram tag,
In the
whatever.
earlier parts of our relationship/friendship, it was literally time difference challenges. So it was all about finding ways to still feel that you're connecting in a real time way, even if it's not.
Look at this horror that we have started. See, washing dishes, air quote washing dishes.
Well, that's because when you use your hands, it gets all bubbly and slick. And
So communication consistency. Choose your platform, your platform of choice. Whether it's Telegram or whatever, but find something that you can be reached on anything and
Mhm.
work out your protocols for like how it's going to work. So
for
Yeah.
for partners who aren't exactly able to be out, having communication consistency is important because you can have a channel to just keep in touch and a channel for the naughtier, kinkier stuff. So like if you were, trying to communicate with your partner and you can't be out yet for whatever reason, then maybe you do the kinkier stuff in Telegram or in what are the other ones? Viber, etc.
what are the other ones? Viber.
Just so that whenever you want to communicate and the parents are about, then you stick to this other one and you both have that clear understanding of
Ladies
what
and
the tone
gentlemen,
should
it's 2020 and Toby was forced to sign up for Viber because of work. This is the only time you sign up for Viber.
I don't
It's
lie.
strange.
And all these people started contacting me because they have my number.
Toby has very Tito behaviors. Like, he still takes pictures with his iPad. Like, it's freaky. Okay. Hi, Lara Michael Javier. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So, the next thing, and this is, I will already set the disclaimer. Toby set the wording for this one, which is, tatan. Oops, I'm pointing totally the wrong way.
Remote fun.
Remote fun, which is sort of what we touched on yesterday, that there are different creative venues for
Touchdown.
having fun remotely at a appropriate physical distance or as separated by community lockdowns and whatnot.
If you are, you have the funds and you're that kind of fun, then yes, there are devices you can buy to have remote fun in that manner.
Synchronized remote fun. But, also what's helpful is that you can just, so things like we mentioned before, online gaming platforms like
Yes.
Tabletopia, or if you're both into Animal Crossing, then,
Yes.
or other MMORPGs, then it's a place to be together. We had a friend over the weekend talk about making connections on MMORPGs and like trying to do regular real world things like, hey, you want to just visit this place you've never been to in the game, not completing a mission or a quest, just sightseeing, things like that, which is cool.
Noel cites VR or AR, which in truth, yes, it's probably
Those are very different things. Toby will lecture you.
they're
on
probably
those.
too much also to expect to use in a relationship, but there are ways that can be used by creative people.
Pico agrees with you that Viber is annoying and creepy.
Absolutely.
A lot of these chat platforms are, because as long as you give them permission to add contacts based on your phone number.
But other ways that you can have remote fun could also include making sure you have the same game app so you can play multiplayer online, to maybe even, let's say there are shows that you used to enjoy watching together, then synchronize your viewing. Facebook has watch parties.
There are Facebook watch parties. There's that Netflix watch party service, or you can totally go old school like we used to do, which was we both have the same video, and then we would synchronize when we press play.
We would synchronize. We weren't even using chat.
No, we were using
voice.
chat. We weren't using voice or video
We'd be
because
like, okay,
internet bandwidth was
ready
a
to press
struggle.
play. Ready to press play. Okay, I'll count down on 3, and we'll play on 1. After 1, no, on 1. Okay, I'll type 3.
Communication
2,
consistency.
1, and then we both press play, and then once we're watching, we start typing what we're seeing. So
Yeah.
like, guy runs towards tree, the tree shaking.
Baltar's talking to himself.
Yeah. And by getting those messages, we know what the other person is seeing. So sometimes, let's say if I'm ahead, I'll press pause and play again, and then, okay, this is what I'm seeing now, and then it starts to sync. And once it syncs, it's amazing because it feels like you're both in the same room, even if you're not.
Why did we not use timestamps? Because we were not necessarily watching the exact same downloaded video file. So we would have to approximate synchronization with visual cues.
And this is a decade ago. So we're talking about not yet streaming services.
Guys, once upon a time, we were chatting
Right?
through Google Talk, but I was using Pigeon as an app because I was into all these third-party things.
But
Oh
ultimately,
my God.
at that time, it wasn't a streaming service.
No,
so it
no.
literally was different files. Hope that we start at the same point.
Yes, it was a manual synchronization, and it worked for us.
In other words, nowadays, you guys are spoiled.
We finished Battlestar Galactica this way.
Oh my God, that's so many seasons. We went through Lost. We went through.
No, to be fair,
Fringe.
okay, these things we watched together.
Oh, yeah.
We were living together by the time Fringe came out. But it's always so strong in my memory that Battlestar Galactica. This is how we watched the final season of Battlestar Galactica together. Manual synchronization.
With matching typing that we're screaming. Oh my God! Something like that.
Blue mentions, we do it even when the person is just in the other room. Okay, it's inevitable that you will still chat. Toby and I are sitting at the same table and we still chat each other things.
Because sometimes we're talking while we're typing something. Because
We're
it's a second
we're
conversation
working,
having.
we're hosting a webinar, we're on a video conference, and then I'm like chatting like, hey.
Yeah, or like earlier, we were talking about our dinner plans, but I was already typing about the show.
Yeah.
Because it's a second topic we wanted to talk about while we were having our first conversation.
Or her watching something, but then I sent a file that, Toby, I need your help, and then I'm chatting about the file Oh my gosh, it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, so that's and I wanted to highlight Discord, Netflix stream, or even Jackbox Party. Yeah,
Yes.
Jackbox Party thing. I'm very much accepting my birthday may become a Jackbox Party event. MMORPG World Storm is taking online dating to a whole new level. It happens, and I have seen people like do full on dates on Animal Crossing, like when Ayala Museum had their museum. So many people had museum dates. Watch fireworks together or shooting stars together. All good stuff.
Yeah, officially, these are all just the world catching up with what Second Life tried to make interesting years back.
Wow. Do you remember Second Life? The way there's a shark in my hand. Okay. The other idea we had creative deliveries.
Mm-hmm. So from your basic, you buy them food or you buy them a surprise dessert, delivery from Red Ribbon or something as a nice surprise thing. Or it could be more practical stuff. You know the guy hasn't had a new coffee maker, so order one from Lazada and send it to them.
Hell?
I mean, why not? If you can't like meet up to give the gift, then take advantage of the fact we are now literally living in a world where there are services that allow you to do stuff even if it's not you. I mean, I don't know if Hey Kuya is still active.
I don't know. I have no idea.
You have all these services, everything from food to deliveries to purchasing stuff. Why not?
I mean, our early equivalent for this was like something because of our different schedules. I would wake up sometimes, and Toby had left surprises by the time he went off to work,
Mm-hmm.
or he'd wake up and I left him a surprise
Mm-hmm.
when I went to work. I mean, little things like that. Now, there's so many options. Whether you order something on Lazada, you buy a subscription of something online.
Mm-hmm. Shop from one of their favorite shops. Let's say it's a board game shop or a fashion place.
I mean, I've had like I've done birthdays pre-quarantine where I'm like, hey Toby, check your email. And then it's like, I got your subscription to Masterclass, things like that. So, I mean, there's so many options. So you can get super, super creative with your delivery perspective. And at least that way you still get to celebrate the little gifting culture.
Mm-hmm.
Comment moments. Thank you for people of our generation who remember Second Life. Okay, but yes, either you're Second Life or Gaia Online.
I'd even say Preston Tale.
It's so funny that it turned out we both played Preston Tale. We just never encountered one another. I only played with office mates and people in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I ended up with people in Brazil.
I don't know either.
One of your kids in the fridge. Yes, I have woken up with kids in the fridge. Kids being stuffed animals and even people like Sharky. Toby likes leaving elaborate dioramas involving our stuffed animals around the house.
One of my favorites was when Rocky came home and there was a ceiling cat.
Okay, that wasn't one of my favorites.
That bothered you so much.
Super creeped me out. It's this weird paper craft ceiling cat, and oh my god!
And it was so perfectly made that it looked like it was staring at you.
Yeah, from any angle. It's one of those things, like and then but I didn't want to destroy it because you put some effort into it. So it's like in a microwavable container now, and then like I don't want to open it. It's transparent. I can totally see it, but oh my god, that ceiling cat creeps me out. Okay.
Yeah. So other than that,
Kenny's like the internet generation gap is noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
You're one to talk.
Hey, come on.
Hey, you're not that old.
You don't know about using modems that had dial-up sounds. So yeah, internet gap.
Toby's ringtone continues to perplex people.
Oh, but you can tell immediately who are old school people.
Yeah.
Something last to add to delivery is do not underestimate the power of knowing relatives or housemates who you could contract to help you.
You're going to talk about your elaborate stuff. Toby's done very elaborate things with the help of other people. Sometimes for games, sometimes as gifts.
But in terms of for gifts, so let's say you want to surprise your significant other and your partner is currently living with friends, then contact the friends and have them help you be your hands to prepare stuff without him knowing. It's finding ways. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the I think the core mechanic of a lot of things we're saying about surviving quarantine apart is just being super creative about it and really stretching the limits of what you can do.
Accepting the fact you can't be there, so you find ways to still be there, quote unquote.
That was super clear. Okay, so Toby came up with this last one, which is actually kind of funny, and it kind of works out, which is Remember letters?
Now, for those who are very young, like a number of you,
We're not gonna name names.
there was a point in time when messaging someone you cared about meant physically writing a letter, sending it through the post office. A month later, it would arrive, or a week, depending on where. I was using a month because I was thinking states.
Okay.
And once they receive it, they'll be happy, they read it, then they can reply. So you'll get your reply 2 months later.
Okay. So we're not necessarily advocating snail mail because physical distancing, you don't want contact with the postal service.
But at the same time, if you had options to do so, let's say your building allows postal services or you are near a post office, then why not consider stuff like that? If you have the opportunity to send stuff, why not include a handwritten letter with it? If you're sending a package, then rather than just have the package addressed to the person, include a small letter slipped into the packaging or include a small note or a small message placed in the box.
There are also digital equivalents to this. I mean, even along this line, when is the last time you wrote a long
An email.
email to someone?
Yes.
You can totally write an email. You can even, and then if you're using services like Gmail, you can now delay sending. So if you want to time it for something else or like have an email come up at a surprise point in the day, then you totally can. So these are venues.
If you're not confident about your word skills, there are still other options. I mean, everything from video apps that allow you to pre-record a message and add all these fun stuff like it was a photo booth to creative areas wherein you could create a picture book with a collection of photos and then add little captions.
For people on Instagram, like if you change your close friends filter to stop being about people you're flirting with and just being your significant other, then you can leave.
Where's
Then
the
you can leave
button? Where's the
close.
shade button?
Then you can leave. You can leave a boomerang or something just for your significant other or loved one that you want to send a message to, and hope that they will see at some point in the next 24 hours.
Mine has a question.
Okay, wait. We're gonna comments for a moment, which is one. Pico stressing the age of no internet. We survived the age of no internet. Yes, Kenny being super defensive. He's not that young. We reached dial up. Okay, fine. Noel, who is also not that young, stresses ISP Bonanza for the win. Super economical. Yes, David remembers letters. Hi, Jovan. Snail mail, scheduled email. I'm really just clicking through. With the important question, are there still e-cards? The answer is yes. And my sister loves every now and then reviving. You remember jib jabs?
Yes,
where
I was about to say
you
jib jab.
you take a picture of a person and you get to insert it in this horribly rotoscopy
With the puppet
animation
mouth.
with the puppet mouth thing. That is still a thing that's happening. So yes, that is an option for delivering messages. Speak with the language you're comfortable with. Exactly. That is always one way to do it. I had subtle things before. Like I'd leave hidden messages for Toby in my blog posts that they could be just general stuff I'm writing, but between the two of us, it means something else, and so maybe he'd notice it. You could do the same thing with status updates. You could just post images or GIFs as a status update because it's really a message for your significant other.
Yes.
Toby used to write these weird, well, quote unquote, write. He used to assemble these blog posts that were all just images, and that was like the summary of his day that he was trying to share. It's also because we were the relationship wasn't out, we weren't together. Yeah. Very complicated.
So it is very symbolic images, which when we look at it, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but no one else.
We can
would.
recap days this way and looking at these posts, and it's really cool.
There's also the option of personalizing the message in a way that the other one would really appreciate. So Rocky, for example, wrote this letter once for me with the words in the cover that said "Do not open."
Okay,
so of course,
that's not necessarily super personalized for Toby
he knew,
in a romantic sense.
He knew I will want to follow the instructions, but he also knew I was so tortured that I wanted to read it.
Thank you, Mad Magazine, circa the 1990s, for the idea of the "do not read" sign.
But it's stuff like that can make the messages, more special, more memorable. They become things that become much more personal in your relationship. Finding those little ways that it might seem Baduy or it might seem ordinary, but as far as the two of you would be concerned, it's a memory that you'll cherish.
ultimately, and I think that the subtle undercurrent behind this, apart from driving creativity, is surprise. This is what defines the Baduy Pride experience for us as a couple. It's always been about creatively coming up with ways to say that you care for each other, you love each other, regardless of the constraints in place. Whereas in the beginning for us, it was, excuse me, I'm going to burp again because I keep drinking my coffee. In the
And we're
beginning,
near the aircon, so it's colder.
in the beginning, it was us being apart and working on different schedules, but we still found ways to make it work. And then now it's a quarantine, a lockdown. Now it's a pandemic. There are always ways, and you just gotta roll with the times and adapt to it. Even if it means that you might arrange for a physical meetup where you may not get to touch, but then you get to wave from a polite 6 foot distance, or you do get the hug and then immediately disinfect yourselves with misting spray because we gotta be safe.
But that's ultimately what you have to pay attention to. If you will have those little chances to meet up, then beyond just the meetup, why not have something you can hand over, something that they'll hold on to, something they'll pour through when they get home. It's those little ways that extend the experience. Pico had that question about challenges for those whose love language is physical intimacy. That's exactly it. Since you can't be there, and that's the reality, you could spend the next few months just bitching and moaning about the fact that you can't touch each other. Or you can accept that as a fact and find ways to make it more interesting.
I mean, and I'm going to be really cheesy, but at least it's relatable. I will point to Maya's already highlighting Game Boys on YouTube, but no, I mean, like Game Boys had an interesting moment in one episode where they're like virtual hug, and then the two of them hug each other, hug themselves on camera, and that's not a perfect.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, but
since you're doing it
but
together,
you're conveying the message. You're doing it. It's an activity you're doing together, and I think you're stressing the message well enough. So that helps, and that's why communication is key in what you do. And super help.
Surprisingly, one can even draw inspiration or ideas from the BDSM communities, wherein you could tell the person what you wish you could be doing, and have them just close their eyes and touch themselves.
Oh, okay.
And you could like
remote fun.
Yeah, so you could like be voicing out, I wish I was holding. Close your eyes. Okay, run your hand through your hair. Imagine that's me right now doing it. Yeah, and I really miss you, and the person's vocalizing.
Once upon a time, we didn't have these fancy schmancy video chat options for expressing intimacy.
So we only had the phone.
We only had the phone, and that meant we all had to be eloquent and be in describing what we wanted to do to the other person. And
yes, Karen.
Things like that.
BDSM for the win.
BDSM, Toby. Good job.
But at the same time, again, drawing from BDSM. You have to have your safe words. You have to have your limits.
What is this going to imply to other people about our relationship?
Washing dishes. Okay, but the thing is, you have to have the safe words because again, you are dealing with the lack of control of the situation. Maybe you're alone at home or in your condo. But maybe your partner is still with his parents.
Yeah.
So your partner needs a keyword that the moment they say it, it's the safe word to say, "Up, may tao."
Pause.
Yeah. And in as much as you can say time out, people will start
old school chat rules. Pause. Parents are watching.
Parents are watching shit.
Pause. What was the S? I can't remember the S. Okay. Quick highlights in the comments. Noel, I remember writing a love letter in Mary Grace table. Oh, see? And then then you can leave that. So those Mary Grace love letters, there are definitely stories there. My watching your Baduy experiences through the years has been loads of fun. You don't even know the half of it. I mean, we tried to capture some of it on the blog, but there's way too many. What are you? Toby's digging around for stuff. I am worried.
What?
My also highlights the Game Boy's plastic cover kiss. That's extreme, okay?
That's production
That
values.
was production value, super contrived. I loved it. And that was great. But that was like embracing the constraints of the situation and making the most of it.
And that's if you're starting you're new into the relationship and you want to make an impact. That's one. Unless you'll be seen as a stalker. So this was the letter from way back. See?
You have to do that.
There. Do you see it? It says, don't open. So can you imagine being given a letter like that? See, this is how many years old now? And I still keep it in my wallet.
Hi, this is Baduy Pride. Other comments, David being all defensive BDSM and like, oh please. Please slap. Okay. And just a lot of laughing. Creative messages, yes. Hints like that. And a lot of ha 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 and ha 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 ha. Wow, guys. This was more entertaining than I thought it could be. But yeah, the key to surviving
Is being
quarantine
creative.
apart is being creative.
It's
And-
finding ways to connect. It's finding ways to keep the conversation going.
And now, and in our case, we just kept it up. I mean, even when I finally quit my call center job after a dozen years and started working on the same schedule as Toby, we're still doing weird stuff together and just little surprises, and that has helped. That's helped through. Pico now demands to know, did Toby open it? Eventually, he did.
Of course.
It was a day of delightful torture.
Oh no, it's the ducks.
Wow, guys, that was a lot.
Of course, that
Stop.
sound means
Stop.
it's been 30 minutes.
It's been 30 minutes.
And I'm afraid that means the show has come to an end. Well, this episode at least.
This episode, the show is gonna keep going.
So we've had a lot of fun, and we hope that you will join us next time.
Okay, then I gotta go through my stuff. So, if you have questions for this particular Baduy Pride couple, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to submit them at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas, and that leads you to a Google form. It doesn't collect your email, so you're safe. Follow us on social, all Toby No Shade, and I'm RG Sunico. I think, whatever, I think we're going to go back to being public so that this invite makes more sense, because I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun, and I think nothing's going to bring me down. Woohoo! And then, of course, check out the blog at baduypride.com. We appreciate if you not only get to watch past episodes of Baduy Pride, but then you get to see some of the documented stories of the Baduy things we've done, and maybe it'll give you ideas for how to, do happy, sweet, crazy Baduy things for your partner. What is Shark Guy doing?
Oh,
Sharky doing the two guy.
Sharky's sad the two guy did get to dance today.
Yeah, we are, because the Facebook count is easier to look at. It never quite hit 10, but I think if we add in the YouTube, we probably did. We could just do a tube guy for the hell of it.
Okay. Tube guy, we still love you.
Yeah! He's having a harder and harder time getting up there.
I'll need to buy that. Oh!
Excuse
I'll
me.
need to buy batteries, I guess.
Okay, and then we gotta finish this wrap up. Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you think about surviving quarantine apart. What creative things have you been doing to keep your partner, connected? How to let them know that you're still thinking about them, and yet still respecting the need for physical distancing so that we can fight this pandemic together. We don't want to fight the quarantine, we're fighting the pandemic.
So as always, be sure to subscribe for notifications whether on YouTube or Facebook, so you don't miss our next live
How do you
stream.
juggle those around?
Please feel free to keep resharing the link so other people can learn about the show and start joining us whenever we have it.
Yeah, we appreciate friends who are late to the show. Like we're 8 episodes in and we're still getting people like, hey, I just tried watching this thing. Thanks for watching. Okay? Once again, I'm Rocky.
I'm Toby.
And this is
Baduy Pride.
End screen! End screen! We're doing open mouth?